Hello and welcome to this edition of NASCAR's Lost Teams, Blue Max Racing. Raymond Beadle, a well-known owner-driver of the Blue Max Top Fuel Funny Car, winning 3 consecutive NHRA championships from 1979 through 1981, and IHRA Funny Car championships in 1975 and 76, then again in 1981. Well, in preparation for the 1983 NASCAR Cup Series season, Beadle purchased the equipment and the number 27 from M.C. Anderson. The team started out the sponsorship from Old Milwaukee Beer and was driven by an up-and-comer by the name of Timrichmond. The team was prepared and ready for their debut into NASCAR. Number 27, Old Milwaukee Pontiac, with Timrichmond behind the wheel, had a pretty solid first season. Their best start was first 4 times, in the spring at Darlington and in the summer at Pocono. Then in the fall at Charlotte and Atlanta. Their best finish was first in the summer at Pocono. Overall, they scored 4 poles, 1 win, 10 top 5s, and 15 top 10s, ending the team's inaugural season in the Cup Series in the top 10 on points, in the 10th position. The next season, in 1984, the number 27 Old Milwaukee Pontiac had Timrichmond behind the wheel again this season, and the Blue Max Racing team had another reasonable season. Their best finish was first in the spring at North Wilkesboro. Overall, they were able to score 0 poles, 1 win, 6 top 5s, and 11 top 10s, finishing the 1984 NASCAR Cup Series season 12th in final points. For one last season, Timrichmond was behind the wheel of the number 27 Old Milwaukee Pontiac. The team continued to fall off a bit, not to the point of uncompetitiveness, but just year over year, just statistically, they regressed. His best finish was second in the fall at Bristol. Overall, they scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 13 top 10 finishes, en route to an 11th place finish in final points. At the conclusion of the season, Timrichmond made the move over to Hendrick Motorsports to join their team and their new number 25 Folgers Chevrolet team. So, Blue Max Racing signed a new driver by the name of Rustywallace to drive the number 27 Allio Pontiac. Barry Dodson served as crew chief for the team. Their best start was 4th in the summer at Watkins Glen. Their best finish was first twice, in the spring at Bristol and in the fall at Martinsville. Overall, they were able to score 0 poles, 2 wins, 4 top 5s, and 16 top 10s, finishing the 86 Cup Series season 6th in final points. In 1987, the team was able to pick up a new primary sponsor. So now, they were the number 27 Kodiak Pontiac, with Rustywallace behind the wheel. Now, their best start was first in the spring at Michigan, and their best finish was first twice, in the summer at Watkins Glen and in the fall at Riverside. Overall, they scored 1 pole, 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and 16 top 10s, ending the 1987 Cup Series season 5th in final points. Next up was the 1988 Cup Series season, and the Blue Max Racing team essentially remained the same. The number 27 Kodiak Pontiac, with Rustywallace behind the wheel, and Barry Dodson as crew chief. Their best start was first twice, in the fall at Martinsville and Atlanta. The team's best finish was first 6 times, in the spring at Riverside in Michigan. Then they were able to win 4 out of the last 5 races of the season, in Charlotte, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, and Atlanta. Overall, they were able to score 2 poles, 6 wins, 19 top 5s, and 23 top 10 finishes, on their way to finishing second in final points. Yet again, the Raymond Beetle-owned Blue Max Racing number 27 Kodiak Pontiac was driven by Rustywallace for the 1989 Cup Series season. And the team was coming off their best season so far, by far, in 1988. Their best start was first 4 times in the spring at Rockingham and North Wilkesboro, Sonoma, and Pocono. Their best finish was first 6 times in the spring at Rockingham, Richmond, and Bristol. Then in the summer at Watkins Glen, Michigan, and Richmond. Overall, they were able to score 4 6 wins, 13 top 5s, and 20 top 10s on their way to their first and only NASCAR Cup Series championship. A new decade and a new primary sponsor on the car. The number 27 Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac had another pretty solid season, but had honestly spent way too much money to find speed. The team was way behind financially. And at the conclusion of race 22, Jimmy Makar took over for Barry Dodson as crew chief for the team. Their best start was first twice in the fall at Phoenix and Atlanta. Their best finish was first also twice in the spring at Charlotte and Sonoma. Overall, they scored 2 poles, 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and 16 top 10s on their way to finishing the 1990 Cup Series season and the Blue Max Racing team's run in NASCAR 6th in final points. The new sponsorship deal with the team that his team had just signed was aligned with Wallace and went wherever he went. Rogerpenske had been showing interest in getting back into NASCAR, and after dabbling in the series in the 1970s. So, Beetle was way behind financially to begin with, then losing the team's driver, some key crewmen, then their primary sponsor. It kind of just led to the end of the team. So Penske went ahead and acquired Blue Max Racing's equipment and their team, becoming the number 2 Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. So Blue Max Racing team's run in the NASCAR Cup Series may have been relatively short, but it was successful. In just 8 full-time seasons in the Cup Series, they were able to score 13 poles, 20 victories, and the 1989 Cup Series championship. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of NASCAR's Lost Teams. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.